Tell me when.
Live. Welcome to Food Alchemy Network. This is Coffee with Ori. Yay!
You're funny. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Happy Monday. Today's topic is going to be something that I wrote about in Facebook this week, and it is about how when we're divided, we fall. You know, I know growing up, and I'm sure most of you growing up in your neighborhoods, you thought that we were taught to respect one another and to help one another and to always look out for our elders and look out for children. We always tried to help our younger siblings or cousins and stuff like that. And it really did take a village to raise children. It really did. It just seems that at this particular moment, people have lost their goddamn mind. People have stopped respecting one another. People have stopped talking to one another. People have stopped socializing without an agenda. It seems like everyone that wants to socialize has an agenda. So I know that growing up, I learned a lot of lessons, but one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned is that there are three types of people in the world. There are people who talk about things that happen. There are people who watch things happen. And then there are people who actually make things happen.
Hold on. They said they can't see us. Hold on. Let's see what's going on. Why can't you see you guys? You can't see me. What do you mean you can't see me? I can. Hold on. This is what I am. Hold on. Let's see. I am. All right. Let's see. Can you see me? We can't see you. Okay. Hold on. I have to go in here. See you. This is why we gotta check. Yes. Can you see me now? Can you see me? I get a yes. There's a split screen. I don't want a split screen. There's only supposed to be one person on the screen.
Can you see me now? Ask. Can you see me?
Can you see him now? Because he's the only one supposed to be on the screen. I'm minding my business.
They can see me?
I think so. Yes. Jules says yes. Yes, okay. I see Ori now. We can see you. Thank you.
You know, today is going to be a really interesting day because, like I said, you know, this topic that I am, Arlene, hi. The topic that I'm talking about today is, you know, we need healing, you know, and the three types of people that there are, you have to ask yourself, what type of person am I? Am I a person that watches things happen? Am I a person who hears about things that happen? Or am I a person who actually makes things happen? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. I know because I ask myself these questions every single day. And every single day I work on it. I think that it is time for us to dig deep within ourselves and start asking questions, not just of ourselves, but of our fellow people. Healing is the key to everything, but besides healing, love is the key. Okay. I also I know that in the interim today, you know, I wrote something that had to do with prejudices and people passing judgments on, especially born again Christians. And I don't have anything against born again Christians. If you feel like you're being born again, I don't understand what that means. I'm sorry, I don't. So all I know is that I was born, I was baptized, I did communion, I did confirmation, And then I was baptized again and again and again and again and again. So am I reborn? I don't know what the hell I am. I just know that I just go with the flow, and I treat everybody with respect. I look at others, I try not to judge, and I just go with the flow. And I think that that is the essence of why people have split up. In the past few years, and I'm not going to say just the 4 years. I'm talking about the past few years, maybe the last 20 years, or last 30 years. People have been waking up from what I call an awake coma. We've been awake, but we've also been in a coma. And people have been waking up one by one and having an awakening. And one day you have an epiphany and you say, you know what? I don't want to go to church today. I want to go to the park today and I want to sit down, or I want to go to the beach, or I want to go to a friend's house and I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's not that people are running away from God. I don't believe that people are running from God. I believe people are running to God the way that Spirit wants them to run to God. Because most born again people, and I'm not going to say all, but the majority, can make you feel as if you're doing something sinful. If you have a boyfriend and you're not married, it's a sin. Well, guess what? Did they really marry people in the old days? I mean, really? Did they really marry them? Did they actually go to court? Did they fill out paperwork and they said, oh, well, this is your husband and this is your wife and here's the paper to prove it? Did they do that? No, they didn't do any of that. So I think that the way people view things, I think that it can become, well, no, not it can become. They can become very ignorant in the way they think about what people are supposed to be like. Just like if you're homosexual, as long as that isn't the church said, as long as you can have homosexual tendencies as long as you don't actually do the act. Well, hello, being a homosexual is having sex and enjoying yourself with your partner. Okay? So that's a no-brainer. And, looking at people who are transgender, it's a big deal. I mean, come on, for God's sake. The Pope just said not too long ago that homosexuals, we have to be loved because we are born this way. So we still have this I don't know, this stigma that people have. I mean, this ignorant stigma. And it really is ignorant because I know that in my family dynamic, it was okay for everybody else to be gay, but it wasn't okay for me to be gay. And I never really hid my gayness, and when it was time to just get up and go, I just get up and go, because I never let anyone tell me what to do, not even my mother. I never allowed anyone to stop me from doing what I needed to do. And I'm not going, for these people who really know me and know that I'm kind of like, I'm always jumping, I'm not jumping, because this is still part of pulling away and people, pulling away from each other. Now, the point I'm trying to make with all of this BS and this religious jargon is that we have pulled away from each other many years ago, and we are still pulling away because we are constantly reminded and we're constantly told that we're not following the word of Christ, that we are not doing this and we're not doing that. Well, guess what? Jesus did not teach in the temple. Jesus taught in the street. If you want to get technical about it. And like I said to you before, people are not running away from God. They're running to God the only way they know how. So for you people who are born again, who walk around with a stick up your ass, let me explain something to you. What you found in church, you found in church because people took you to church so that you can find it, so that you can heal yourself. So if you were a whore when you were younger and all the men you ever had dumped you and you wanted a fresh start because people have blamed you for doing certain things, so you find Christ, so you become born again, and therefore Christ saves you from being a hoe. No, darling. The moment you are labeled as a hoe, everybody's always going to remember you as a hoe that got reborn. I just want you to know that, okay? Just like people know me, that's Tony. He's really this, but he's gay. Well, guess what? Yes, I'm gay. And what? I'm gay. I am a medium. I am a reader. I'm a meditation teacher. I am an ordained minister. I am, what do you call that? I'm a life coach, but I'm an intuitive life coach. And I have all the titles, but they're just titles. Have I found God? Well, guess what? I think that I did, because what I believe in has allowed me not to really be judgmental. Now, what I said, the comments that I just made, it wasn't being judgmental. It was being factual. Because just like I'm sure everyone in the world has a family member or family members who have converted, and they have pushed you aside automatically. So divided we fall. We need to cut that bullshit out, because at the end of the day, that's not what God intended us to do. I mean, if you really, really want to get technical, we go to the Old Testament, God was cruel. Now you go to the New Testament, Jesus painted a different picture. So we have to learn to balance the good and the bad. We need to balance ourselves. We need to stop killing ourselves. We need to start talking shit about each other. We need to stop doing all the things that we do. We need to start putting ourselves back on the shelf. If we don't have nothing nice to say, we need to put ourselves back on the shelf. If you can't accept your children, if you can't accept your family members, if you can't accept the things that are told to you, because when they tell you something, it hurts, then you know what? Then you should not be talking. Be silent. The best thing to do is always be silent. If you have nothing to say, if you have nothing nice to say, keep your mouth shut, because at the end of the day, that's why people don't want to socialize. Now, me, on the other hand, you want to talk to me, you want to talk shit, come for me. Trust me, you wouldn't like it. So, like I said, thinking this morning about everything that's going on in the world, we need to stop dividing ourselves. We need to conquer. And I'm not just talking about Black people, and I'm not talking about Hispanic people. I'm talking about Black people. I'm talking about white people. I'm talking about Chinese people, Iranians, even Jewish people, even though they find it hard, even them. Every race has their issues. Trust me. I have been very, very, very racist. Hello. So at the end of the day, I had to learn to retract a lot of the things that I've said and apologize to many people and actually get my shit together, because if I'm gonna talk the talk, I need to walk the walk. So all I'm asking you guys is to really pay attention to your own actions. I mean, are you friendly with your neighbors? Do you socialize with your neighbors? Do you invite them over? Do they invite you over? If you see them in the street, do you avoid them? I mean, I walk into the supermarket, I say hello to everybody. People look at me, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I don't have to know them, because you know what? Every change in life starts with a tiny little step. And every little thing that you do can fill a person's heart. And even if they're having a bad day, just a smile can make them feel special, because we all deserve to feel special. It's an important day. And I'm going to show you some things for people who don't know. I have my own tarot cards. So this is the card that I pulled out today. Now, this was actually paintings that were painted for me so that I can design my cards. And yes, my cards are going to be actually this big when I print them out. And there's only 9 cards in the deck. This particular card deals with the struggles we're going through now. These things that are here, with the red and the black. The black are the shadows of all the dead people that are coming now. Okay? The blood is the blood that's being spilled all over the world. Not just here, all over the world. And this that's gold signifies the staircases. The staircases that we have to rise from. Okay. This is a staircases for the rich. It's wide, you see, and it looks like it goes straight up. And then this one looks like it's a little shorter. But you see, if you look here in the middle, you see that there's like a bridge that goes right across. And that bridge is what we need to reach. We need to reach a bridge between each other. We need to reach a bridge so that we can help each other climb once again. Those I remember I'm going down to memory lane. I mean, I remember when you couldn't go to the corner store without the store manager at one point or another telling your mother, "Oh, I saw your son or I saw your daughter yesterday walking down and they were by themselves." People took the time. That wasn't gossiping. People took the time to let you know, because they didn't want you to lose your child. They didn't want anything to happen to your child. Nowadays, parents send their children to school by themselves and they don't care, and I'm not saying all, I'm just saying a lot of you. And unfortunately, it's very sad because if anything happens to your child, then you'll be crying and you'll be like, "Oh, I'm wondering why, and why did this happen?" Now, this card that I chose today, it's called Sankofa. And Sankofa is the beginning of life, the beginning of the tree of life, the beginning of new life, animals breeding, chickens hatching, little chicks hatching, mares being born, cows, and all kinds of things, but being born early, not being born in the springtime, being born early. Children being born early, children being born with big heads, and people are wondering like, "Oh my God, these children have big heads." No, they actually have big brains. So they will eventually grow into their heads and into their bodies. So you don't have to worry about that. So Sankofa is showing you a beginning. This is showing you where we are rooted. We're rooted deeply, okay? So as you look at the card, you can start to see the beauty in it. But if you flip the card over this way, you can get a better idea of what is happening at this particular moment. This particular moment in life, everything seems to be upside down. Rivers seem to be running the different way. The ocean seems to get crazy. The sky seems to be all over the place. And everything just seems to swirl very negatively. But this is not the way that I throw out the card. This is the way that I throw out the card. Like I said, this is the card. And this card is called Sankofa. And Sankofa is the beginning. It's the beginning of a new life. It's the beginning of a new relationship. This is beginnings for people who are having problems with their children, to teach you to communicate better with them. This is the card that deals with women who have suffered by the abuse of men who have walked away from them. Congratulations. And you know what? Let the good Lord and all spirits, angels, and guides bless you through your journey, because the journey will be beautiful this year. It's going to be a very beautiful journey. And if we really, really, really reach out to each other and we reach out to the people that really need us, then you will see how this card will have purpose in your life. Remember, the card is called Sankofa. Now, this is one of my favorite cards because this is called Twilight Time. And like I said, I had an artist create these cards for me, these tarot cards. And these tarot cards are not like your usual tarot cards. These tarot cards will be for people who are spiritual, who can actually see through everything in this card. They can see everything that they need to see without having to have instructions. Because come on, anybody in the world can read tarot, and they can pick up a book and read and read and read and read, and then read themselves and read the book, and then read themselves and read the book, and then read others and read the book. I'm not one of those people. So these cards are created for people who can really see, people who really are third dimensional people, fourth dimensional people that can see beyond. Now, Twilight Time is very interesting because if you look at the way that everything is, everything looks so perfect. But if you really look closely, there are flaws. And if you see, one of the flaws are here, and then the other flaw is on the other side, which is here, and then up here, there are flaws. Okay? Now, the colors signify one thing, and the flaws signify another. The flaw just means that we seem to be striving for perfection. And that's what sometimes pulls us away from each other. Now, it is written in many books like Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and some other books about people becoming millionaires. It is written that we need to socialize with people with money because that's the only way that we're going to make money. I don't believe that. I believe that sometimes people with money have many more problems than we do. People with money sometimes create more drama. So sometimes it's best if you work hand in hand with someone who has an idea and you have an idea, you put it together and you start working from that idea and you push everything aside and push each other up slowly. If you go first, then you pull that person up behind you and vice versa. But unfortunately, for the past few years, I would say actually for the past 7 years, people have been turning their backs on each other and they've been showing each other their asses. And that's not a good way to be. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, we need each other, whether we want to believe it or not. Now, this card here is a very interesting card. And although it's black and white, this deals with being on a crossroad. And many of us are in crossroads. We've been dealing with crossroads for a while. Sometimes it's in the family. Sometimes we say we're going to break the cycle, and we don't break the cycle, we continue it. So this card is very important for you to focus on, and it's a card that you need to show you that not just you're not the only one going through this. A lot of people are going through this. A lot of people are awakening. A lot of people are becoming very angry and bitter, and they don't know why. A lot of families are creating conflict with each other for no reasons. Daughters not talking to the mothers, mothers not talking to their daughters. There's a big thing with what's going on in the world. And, this card shows that we are all on the precipice, but we're also on a crossroad. And the precipice is almost ending. But basically, the crossroad is letting you know that you have time because we're deeply rooted to each other. And as we hold on to our old beliefs, we can come into new beliefs that will bring us thinking the same way we used to think before. This card is very important. Now, this card, as simple and as serene as it may be, let me see. I think this way is better. What you see on the bottom is spirit. That looks like here, that look like butterflies. That's spirit, okay. And here in the at the backside, it's a tree. But if you can't really see deeply, but the tree it's almost like it has spikes in it, or it has like thorns in it. And basically what it's letting you know is that no matter what you do, no matter how you try, it's not going to always be easy. And you're always going to have some complications. And a lot of us are having complications right now. I can't say I am, but a lot of people are having complications. And I just think that at this particular moment, we need to take a breath, and we really need to analyze and ask ourselves, what are we having problems about? What exactly are we having problems? One of the things that I've learned, and I tell people all the time, and I teach it all the time, to speak is to create. You want to create something, then you speak it. You want to create nonsense, speak it, and it will become nonsense. You want to create something good, create it starting with you. Create something good. 1. 2, don't talk about things that you want to do, just do them. 3, don't talk about death. I want to die, I want to die, I want to die. Why? Because you know what? That causes people not to want to be around you at all. I know. Because I've been around people who constantly talk about they want to die. And to me, it's just like, Lord, why don't you just get on top of the tallest building and just jump already? It's just the way that I feel. And I think that some of us out there try to heal people when you're not qualified to do it. You're not a doctor. And if you keep enabling someone by helping them, all you're doing is doing nothing. You're just putting a Band-Aid on their psychoticness, and they're going to continue to be psychotic. And then when they feel like crap, then they're going to blame you because it was you that stopped them from doing what they wanted to do. So by all means, take it from me. If someone wants to kill themselves, let them do it. You can't carry the burdens of why somebody wants to kill themselves. If people are on medication and they don't take it, that's not your problem. You can only talk to them. You can't make them take the medication. You can only do what you can do, and you can only help to a certain degree. So, like I said, there's a lot of things happening in the world, and right now, at this particular moment, there is nothing that we can really do for people except extend our happiness, extend our joy, be kind to one another, try to unite ourselves without fighting. You know, young blacks out there, you guys really need to stop killing yourselves because you're doing exactly what society has wanted you to do for years. And us Hispanics, you know, when we get to a certain point where we start to hide our identity because we don't want to be Hispanic anymore, that's very sad. And at the same time, it's very stupid. And anyone who's from any different religion or if you hide, you know, being a Muslim, if you hide being a Christian, and I'm not saying a Bible banger, I'm saying if you hide from being a Christian, we believe in God. People don't think that spiritual people believe in God. We do believe in God. Now, myself, I can tell you, I don't know. I've read the Bible and I wanted to be a priest and I was an altar boy. I can tell you that I know a lot about God. I may not understand Jesus, but I know a lot about God. So I pray to God directly. I read the Quran, and that to me keeps me grounded the right way. For you people out there, you need something to believe in, even if it's just yourself. But you need to start digging in deeply. And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your neighbors. Do it for your friends. You know, try to talk a brother out of hurting another brother. You know, spread the word that we need to connect to one another, because this man that's coming to us for 4 years now, this man, whether people like him or not, or whether people like what's happening or not, look, we needed to change. At the end of the day, this man is going to need a lot of prayers. He's going to need a lot of strong meditation. He's going to need a lot of people that really, really, really have enough enough spirituality within them that will help uplift him, because he has a lot of cleaning up to do. Let's just hope that a lot of the things that have transpired, that he can fix it. You know, I find it to be very sad, unfortunately, and I don't like really talking about politics online, but I do feel really sad that, you know, so many people have been sent to be killed, in a way. Now, to me, you know, there's countries like, I think it's Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken, where they take the people who are in jail and they rehabilitate them. They don't believe in keeping them jailed. They rehabilitate them, and the jails are like houses. They go outside, they clean, they do all these things. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I am, you know, for people who know me or who don't know me, you're not going to like how this sounds, but this is the reality. This is how I feel. I am an advocate for suicide because I believe that a human body or a human person can do anything they want, and they should be able to, because that's the choice that God gave us. And And I talk from experience because I've tried it many times, and unfortunately, it never worked. And I always tried in tragic ways. I never told anyone, and I did it in tragic ways, and I never died because I don't think God thought it was funny because all I kept hearing was laughter. And I woke up, and I would wake up in the hospital, and I was like, "What the hell?" So I am an advocate for people who said, for people who don't talk about it and they kill themselves. When people don't see the signs, it's sad. But when you see the signs and you can help them, if they want to take their life because it feels easier for them, there's nothing you can do that's ever going to save them. That's one. Two, it's not that I can say that I believe in the death penalty, but in reality, there are so many people on death row that have actually been convicted of these crimes, that have created these heinous crimes, and they're still there. And it costs more to have people on death row than it is in regular prison. So my thing is, if you have them in death row and they've been there for a long time, you got two choices. Either you let them go or you get rid of them. You killed them. Simple. It's one or the other. Because as long as we continue to allow prisons to do what they're doing, they're going to continue to do it. And we're still going to spiral down. Because at the end of the day, what people don't want to believe, because they just don't want to believe it, is that rich people don't make money on their own. We make money for rich people. We work to make them money. So when you get that in your head, then you'll understand that. If you want to make any economy fall in this life, you would take every single dime, every poor person, every middle class person that makes less than $35,000 a year. If you take out your money from the banks will fall. So is there power in unity? Hell yeah, there's a lot of power. So think about that. Think about that. Instead of thinking about, if you feel like killing someone, don't kill someone. Just go to the bank and take out your money. Take a trip. That's my suggestion. Take a trip. Everybody needs to take a trip. You can't live in a town or in a country or in a state and never leave that state. And the only thing you know is maybe another state over. I mean, come on, really? The world is big. I've seen a lot of it. So it's big and it's very beautiful. And people are amazing. In different countries, people are amazing. In Colombia, people are sweet. In Brazil, people are awesome. Peru, people are really good. Ecuadorian people are amazing. I've met Costa Rican people, but not in Costa Rica, but I met them here and they're really nice. Venezuelan people, I know a lot of them, amazing people. Colombian people, amazing. I've met Iranians and I met Arabs and I've met Palestinians and I have met, some great Jews. And at the end of the day, we all have our problems, but we need to unite. Today is a very important day because today is Martin Luther King's birthday. And, well, I don't know if it is Martin Luther King's birthday or if they're celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday today. Says, can you text me and tell me yes or no, please? If it is Martin Luther King's actual birthday celebration or, because I really don't know. Dr. D. Hello?
No, it's not his birthday.
Okay, today it was a holiday where I think it may be the 18th or something. But anyway, the day of observance was today, and Martin Luther King was a Christ-like being. He was someone who wanted peace, who marched, who did the best thing that anybody can do. He was like Gandhi, like Mother Teresa, like Emmett. I think his name was Emmett, the lawyer that came before Martin Luther King, that was shot in his house, in front of his house, in front of his children. JFK wasn't perfect, but you know what? Wanted the best for us. Lincoln wanted the best for minorities. There have been a lot of great people that have fought and have done things that are Christ-like figures. And I mean Christ-like because, the Bible does say that we are children of God, so we are Christ-like. And today was a very important day. A lot of people did not. A lot of people did not really know, and that's sad because I was privy to that, and I have to say that I myself did not know. His birthday is the 15th, and I really did not know because I know that a long time ago when I was working in corporate America, they stopped celebrating. Like we didn't work before, and we didn't work on Good Friday, and all of a sudden we had to work. So we really didn't observe it. I mean, I took off most of Martin Luther King's birthday. I took off. I believe in lighting a candle. I believe in praying for those souls because there were people that actually made a difference. Rosa Parks, even though people say that Rosa Parks was the first woman, but she really was not. It was actually a girl who was 14 or 15 that actually sat on the bus before Rosa Parks that would not move. But Rosa Parks got credit for it because she was older and she was known. So there are a lot of young Black people in the world that are so amazing and have done so many things. And what we forget is in the 1800s, when it came to the legal system in Washington, there were a lot of Black gentlemen, a lot of Black aristocrats that were actually like senators and mayors and stuff. But you don't see that, because they were taken off the archives or they were burned so that nobody can know this stuff. But actually, it did exist. So before the slaves, I mean, there were Black, aristocrats, and a lot of them. So the fact that they turned on them, it just goes to figure that sometimes people there are people that actually don't realize that the telephone was not invented by a white man. There are certain things that were created by a lot of Black men, like I don't know if you know the story about the guy who invented the pacemaker, and John Hopkins. I mean, he was Colette was the girl who was an unwed teenage mom. And wait, so that's why they chose Rosa Parks, because she was a young unwed mother. She was a teenager and she was an unwed mother, and that's why they wanted to even, which is really weird because even in that society, they even in that society, not just whites, Blacks also judged each other. They didn't want to choose her as a spokesperson because she was a young Black child that was a teenager and was a mother. Didn't make any sense. If anybody had more time on their hands, it was her that could have given her baby to a babysitter or somebody rather than Rosa Parks, who actually had a family. But anyway, like I was saying, you go back to all the history of all these Black gentlemen who have contributed so much to the world, and yet because of the fact of the color of their skin, people, Caucasians, took credit and made money off the backs and the sweat of Black people. So it wasn't always just about slavery in the fields. It was slavery even after. And although in this country we are supposed to be free, we're not. It's different when people see Hispanic people with tattoos all over their body and then all the way to their necks, and yet they don't react the same way when they see Caucasians with tattoos all over their bodies. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but unfortunately, this is the society we live in. What people don't know and This is not a conspiracy theory, because I hate when I try to tell people things and then all of a sudden they think to me, they're so they are so precise in trying to explain to me that these are conspiracy theories. Well, maybe because you've never seen this shit, or maybe because you're too busy trying to pretend that you're white, that you have lost your goddamn mind, and then you're trying to make me feel like I lost mine. I know what I see. I know what I read. I know what I hear. And, through these channels of being around people and reading people and seeing what goes on in the world, there are neighborhoods that get flooded with guns, and people don't know how they appear there. They just appear in crates. A block can be empty and they'll find, a crate full of guns, and no one knows who put them there. Come on, we know who put them there. As long as the blacks keep fighting the blacks, as long as the Hispanics keep fighting the Hispanics and fighting the blacks and having wars with one another, and then the Chinese fighting, the Koreans fighting, we can't forget about, our friendly neighborhood KKK, them fighting, because they've been fighting each other and fighting everybody since the beginning of the time. And I would say a great 80% of them are white trash that live in trailer parks and have no jobs, that live off the welfare system, but yet they say black people are taking over this country. Well, food for thought. Think about that for a minute. Now, like I said earlier, I don't care if you're white, if you're pink, if you're blue, if you're Chinese, if you're Asian. I don't care what you are. It is time for this generation to put ourselves together, and the generation that came after us, the newer generation. It's time to put your shit together. Stop playing Xbox. Get your ass up. Stop being home. Stop being lazy. Do something with your life. Volunteer. Do something. Because it just seems like you have great teachers out there struggling, and great young principals that are struggling to push teachers to push themselves, but these teachers are so overworked with 40 students in a class because they're closing down schools because they're making more private schools and more charter schools, when they should be downsizing the prisons. And like I said, if we stick together, this is the only way that we're going to make this stuff stop, because we have to stop the prisons, because they keep building more prisons, because they're estimating, just like they estimated with the HIV, with AIDS when it first hit, they estimated, well, we will give them Social Security until this time because they will live maybe 10 years max. So 10 years that we pay them is not a big deal. Once we pay them, they die, and nobody collects anything else. That's the mentality, unfortunately, of this country. Okay, whether it's through AIDS or any other disease, especially diabetes, because no one can tell me that a country so advanced as us, we don't have the cure for diabetes. I can't believe that that's possible. Just like Cuba had found the cure for the lung disease. I know, because I spent a lot of time there, and I knew when they came up with it. Just like I knew when they came up with the blue pill in Cuba for people who were HIV positive. So I know these things firsthand, and I know from hand experience that you know what you're talking about because your readings are accurate. Well, thank you for that. I try to listen to spirit, but spirit, what people don't realize is that God doesn't just show you what you want to see. God shows you everything, even the hidden. And like I say to people all the time, I don't know if it's God or the devil, but I know that when I talk to you, I'm trying to heal you. I'm trying to make you see what you don't want to see, whether you like it or not. If you're tuning into me, you have to understand that I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to make you aware of what's going on around you, and, this country of ours, it might have been a great country when the Native Americans were on the plains, when there were thousands of Americans. Because if you came into this country and you were invited and you were invited with open arms, and then you start to shoot everybody and kill these people because you feel like you're superior and steal their land because it's not your land, it's their land. And now there's so little of them, and yet you still say, this is the greatest country because this is my country. No, it's not your country. It's not your country. And it never was your country, and it never really will be your country. This country belonged to someone else. It belonged to other people, and it was taken. So let's remember that. Okay, let's remember that. Pharmaceutical is to make money. And yes, the pharmaceutical companies are companies that are here to make money. See, when you're diabetic, they give you metformin. Metformin screws up your liver, screws up your kidneys. It gives you, down the line, you get dementia. So, okay, so your diabetes goes up, and then they give you something for your kidneys. So they give you high blood pressure medicine to keep your kidney clean. But then, of course, these medicines together cause problems with your liver. So then they give you something for your liver. But then these pills are too strong for you, then they give you something for your stomach. Then you start having inflammation in your legs, and then they give you something for your legs. So by the time you finished 5 years into having diabetes, you're on 12 different types of medication. When I know that the pharmaceutical companies, like I said, they have had the cure. And I know that they do. Now, I know, like I said, firsthand from Cuba, from spending a great deal of time there, that they do have, and they did have the cure for lung cancer, guys, lung cancer. So, of course, they wanted to share it with the US, but of course, we don't share anything, because anything you give us and we can't make money off of, we don't need. We'll take it from you, and then we'll patent it, and then we'll sell it. Okay, I get that. I also remember years ago, a group of kids who were infected by HIV because they were sleeping with each other in the high school in Cuba, in Havana. And when I went back a few months later to visit, I asked the woman who was a nurse, and she said, oh, no, they're fine. You know, there's this new pill that they have, and they give it to them, and it's an antiviral, whatever, and they don't have anything. So I know that these things did exist, just like I know that the medicine for HIV, or let's say the pinpointed the disease of AIDS, was created way before. Okay. Thanks, guys. So all of these things were created before, and unfortunately, like I said, we live in a society now. The UN, as you know, it's a conglomerate of many people. Okay, and it's its own place, just like the Vatican. The UN is its own place, just like the Vatican. Believe it or not, it's in New York, but it's actually its own place, its own police, its own everything. So they sit around to talk about all things that are going on in the world. You don't think that you don't think that they don't know what's going on with the stuff that's going on here? You don't know the Vatican doesn't know? You don't think that people all over the world know what's going on? Of course, come on. If you're smart, you realize that the world, they've been saying it for a long time, that the world is overpopulated. So they're blaming overpopulation on global warming. Dude, wake up. It's not overpopulation. It's the shit that you put in the ground. It's the stuff you put in the sky. It's the stuff you put in the water that's actually causing global warming. It has nothing to do with the country being overpopulated. So automatically, the country is being overpopulated. The world is overpopulated. So what do? Quality control. You start to get rid of people. You start with your elderly, because we all know that there is no respect anymore for the elderly or for the children. So you start to hurt, the people, and it's always the older people, and you start to hurt gay people, Black people, Hispanic people, because God forbid at that moment you start hurting people who are not minorities. Okay, look at what happened in the White House. If there were Black people, they would have been shot. We all know that. Let's be real. We all know that. So we can't even try to cover the sun with a finger and pretend that we're blind. We're not blind. And those people of color that pretend that they don't see and they voted for whoever they voted and they want to act like they're better than the next one. Look, it doesn't matter how much you think you're better than your next neighbor because he's black and he may be the ghetto than you are. You're still black. It's not going to change the fact that you're black. It doesn't matter how many times you bleach. You're black. Black, black. You're not going to change. The world is not going to view you different. Just because you get a little money, it doesn't matter. You're still black. You're Hispanic. You're always going to be Hispanic. It doesn't matter if you have a green card. It doesn't matter if you learn how to speak correctly. At the end of the day, once your friends meet your mama or your dad or your cousins and they know that, oh, well, they're Hispanic, you're still going to be a spick to them. Whether you're Cuban, whether you're Puerto Rican, whether you're Dominican, you're always going to look a certain way. And they're always going to judge you and they're always going to say stuff. Now, I can't talk about all white people because you know what? Not all white people are in this. There's a lot of people of Caucasian status that they want to see this world heal because not for them, but for their children. They want the unification that they had when they were growing up. Not the unification that their parents had, but the unification that they had. So at the end of the day, you know, there are a lot of Caucasian that actually will give their life for us, you know, but unfortunately, sometimes we become so angry that we get blinded. We get blinded at the end of the day, and we start to blame people that are Caucasian because we believe that all of them are the same, and they're really not, you know. At the end of the day, you know, they fight for the same things, you know. They fight for the government taking stones out of the ground and killing, you know, taking gold, stealing gold. Because if you really want to talk about it, in Africa, you know, they bleed that country dry. You know, the minute the Europeans went to Africa, they went there, they didn't go, they were invited, they went there, they didn't treat them bad. At the end of the day, they ended up stealing gold and diamonds and copper and all these precious stones. Same thing in Brazil. You know, they can't see a piece of property where ancient people live without trying to destroy everything. We have to destroy everything because that's what we know. That's what we were taught. That's what society has taught us. There's so many buildings in this country that are abandoned and the structure is amazingly strong. Rebuild on that. Why tear it down? Rebuild. You know, they say, no, it's cheaper to build over. No, it's not. It's not cheaper to build. You know, or you have a foundation. Make sure the foundation is strong. And then, you know what? That's the foundation. And then you start working inside. You know, maybe you may think that it's not possible, but it is. And I know because I've seen it in Brazil. You know, I see it in Colombia. El Salvador, I've seen it. I've seen what they do with old things. I've seen what they do with many different things that we just toss away, and they fix it and they make something ugly into something beautiful. So I'm gonna lead you into a simple meditation, breathing and meditation, because it's been a while since I've actually meditated with anyone that I love and people out there. But this conversation is something that was dear to me. I try to talk about things that are dear to me and things that are happening. And I hope that you guys understand that my only wish is that we all unite ourselves again and try to help one another, no matter what. I mean, I hold doors. I don't have a problem to hold doors for men or women. I don't have a problem, you know, helping a woman when she has a baby in the car. I don't have a problem helping her walk down the stairs or help her. I don't have a problem with that. People will walk around, they'll see you and they'll keep walking. Don't do that. Don't do that because you never know when you're going to need. So, you know, just remember that. But for now, I want you all to take a deep breath through your nose as deep as you can hold it, as deep as you can hold it, and hold it and count to 10. Hold it deeply, count to 10. Once you finish counting to 10, breathe out through your mouth. Again, inhale through your nose deeply and hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Now release slowly. One more time. Breathe in as deep as you can, as deep as you can, and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And before you release it, tell yourself, your spiritual self, your inner self, that you are releasing all the negativity that's happening in the world. Now release. So at this particular moment, I just want you to keep your eyes closed, and I want you to think about all the positive things that you remember as a child. Positive. Not the slap in the face or the slap in the ass. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, think about all the positive things, your laughter. Think about all the kids you knew that laughed and the kids you spent time with. Think about that. Think about when you saw your mother laugh and you see your mother smile. Think about the parties that you had, the families had, Christmas parties or New Year's parties or gathering. Think about when it's time for you guys to go to the clubs. Think about those times. Don't think about what's going on in the world in the TV where you see nothing but destruction, because that is what they're trying to program us to see, destruction. So therefore we walk around being scared all the time. But I'm telling you, my psalm for every single day when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I thank God that I am alive and that I can move my limbs and I can see. And my second thing that I do when I pray and when I meditate is I repeat this over and over. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? No one. So I meditate to those words every day. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Psalm 27. And it gives me the courage and the strength to continue. And even when I feel like I'm falling, I think about all the smiles and all the people that I've touched in my life that I've made smile. And the fact that the universe, God, spirits, angels, guides have given me the ability and the finances to be able to help people at one point or another. And I did. And I made a difference. And I didn't do it because I expected something. I did it because I wanted to do it. I wholeheartedly would have given them everything I had. So think about the things and the smiles that you put on people's faces. Think about your nanas, if they're here or if they're not here. Think about the smiles and the love that you got from them. Think about the love you get from your mom or your sisters or your wife or your husband or your children. Think about those things. Focus on that. Don't focus on the news. Focus on life and focus on the present and focus on, I'm thinking about something positive. I'm thinking about something that's coming new. I'm thinking about how the changes in my life are going to help me to build. And another character flaw that I want you to think about to change is stop stressing over money. Because anytime you worry about money and you keep worrying, money will become a problem. Don't stress. Money will always come. I didn't understand it. I did when I was younger, which is weird. But as I started to understand that a lot of the things that were going on with me had to do with bipolar syndrome, I realized that I started to worry about money because things started to happen to me. But the more I worried, the more things happened. So instead of worrying about financial things, don't worry about that. Know that God knows what you need, and God is always on time. He's never late. He's always on time. Just remember that, because that's very important. And always keep your mind positive. Keep yourself flowing. Keep yourself going. And remember what I showed you in the cards. Remember what I showed you. Okay, we're on the crossroad. We are we are on the precipice, but we're also on the crossroad, which means we can either choose to lay down and die, or we can choose to move forward. The decision is yours, and it's up to you to make it. So think about these things before you go to bed tonight. Think about everything that I talked to you about, and think about everything that you've heard today, and ask yourself, is he full of shit or is he saying the truth? Like I said, on this channel, we can talk about anything. And if you want to talk about a subject, you know what? Then you log on to Dr. D, Alchemy Network, and you let her know what you want to talk about. And, you know, if you want a reading, she can read you. If you want me to read you, most of you know me. You know where to contact me. So at the end of the day, I just want you to know that I send you all nothing but light and love, and lots of love and a lot of light. And I may not be able to quite comprehend what love really, really is, but I know that when I send prayers out to all of you, I feel happy. So that to me is love. So I want you to dig deep inside of yourself and think about someone else rather than yourself, and send nothing but light and love. Tell God, spirit, angels, and guides, or whatever you believe in, let them know that you're sending these people light, that you're sending these people that have died light, even the dead, that you're sending them light and love because they were sacrificed. And we know, but we don't really want to know. That's our biggest problem. We know what goes on. We just choose not to know. So let's become a little bit more aware. Let's become very conscious about what's going on in the world, and let us not become victims, or should I say, let us not become victimized from people who think that we are weak, because we're not weak. And like I said, together, we are an incredible force, but separate, we will never make it. And we have to, this that happened is an experience. This should have shown us, and it should show us that we need to unite, because this pandemic, all it's doing is trying to separate everybody and keep you hostage in your home. Okay. And if you just keep your mask on and you do what you're supposed to do, you'll be fine. You know, you keep your children safe. You don't have to go and throw a big ass party. Throw a party with 5 people, 4 people. You don't need 20 people to have a party. Don't be jackasses. Learn. We're killing ourselves. We are the ones who are responsible for ourselves. No one else is. We are. We're responsible for our happiness. We're responsible for ourselves, for our well-being, for our health. And we are responsible for our children's health. So if you're out there partying and you're like, oh, well, I'm going out because I deserve it and I'm not going to wear a mask, and all of a sudden you get COVID and your child gets COVID, how do you know that you're going to make it and your child is not? You don't know that. See, that's what people need to start thinking, because they're telling you the numbers of adults that have died of COVID, but they're not telling you the amount of children that have died of COVID. You don't hear about children dying, but there has been children dying. Not just because of COVID, but also because of depression. Kids today don't know how to be in the house by themselves. They don't know what it is to play with their brothers and sisters the way we did. Kids today have to play with their friends because if not, they get depressed. So at the end of the day, it's up to us to really make sure that our children are doing things, we're doing them together so that they get used to being around each other, and not be stuck, glued to the TV or glued to the computer or glued to the phone. Or, it's not a good call for children these days. And unfortunately, that's the pastime. There are many children all over the world that don't even have cell phones, don't even own a computer, and they live quite happy. We are accustomed to giving our children more and more and more and more. But you never stop to ask yourself why. Is it really because you're giving them all these things because you're giving them things that you never had, or you're giving them things because it's new, all the kids have it, and you want them to have it because that way they'll keep doing their thing and they won't bother you? Think about that before you even answer or before you even say anything. Think about that. Why exactly are you buying your children all these things and not allowing them to just read a book or taking a walk with them or spending time with family like you did when you were growing up? Family value is important, but if you don't have it, friendships are also good, but real friendships, not phony friendships. So at the end, like I said, what I said and what we talked about today is something that is very dear to my heart. So give me 1 second. So like I said, think about what I said. And before I leave, I'm going to show you this last card. There's some African people that will understand this symbol. It's not actually the way it is. It's actually more, they changed the graphics on the symbol, but it means presence of God. And this card is showing you that we are not late. We still have enough time. The world may be collapsing and things around you may be collapsing, but no matter what building collapse, we're still here. Good night, all. And I will speak to you next Monday.